Okay, so did you see what happened with IRCTC's stock yesterday? It's kind of all over the place, right?
Yeah, I did actually. It seems like it was a pretty volatile day for them. It closed at $779.55, which was up 2.1% from the day before. But it wasn't a smooth ride.
Right, a 2.1% jump. That's a good chunk. But I was reading that at one point it hit a high of 800.65 rupees and also dipped to 755.4 rupees. That's quite range.
Exactly, like a roller coaster. I mean, the data shows that on that day, it opened at 769.25 rupees and then closed at 770.25 rupees, which was a very slight increase. But during the session, there was indeed a lot of movement.
It's almost like investors were trying to figure out what to do with it, I guess. It sounds like there was a lot of back and forth.
Well, yeah, and there's the trading volume, which is a significant factor. It was apparently 254.85% higher by 3 p.m. than the previous day. And at 2 p.m., it was even higher at 302.89%.
Wow, that's a huge jump in volume. So does that mean like more people were buying and selling than usual?
Precisely, it indicates heightened market activity. A price rise combined with higher volume often signals a sustainable upward trend. But high volume with a price drop could suggest further declines. It's kind of like watching a crowded street. The more people there are, the more action you'll see.
That makes sense. So what else was going on? I saw something about futures trading.
Right, so futures were trading higher by 2.21%, but the open interest decreased by negative 108.87%. Now, that's an interesting combination. A higher futures price suggests optimism, but lower open interest could mean the trend might lose steam soon.
So like it's going up now, but maybe it won't stay that way. It's like a balloon that's inflated, but the air is slowly leaking out, I guess.
That's a good analogy. And speaking of trends, technical analysis actually shows that the short-term trend is bearish, but long-term is bearish too, which is a bit confusing, honestly.
Okay, so both short and long-term trends are bearish. That's not good. And what about the analysts' take on all of this?
Well, the consensus among analysts is that it's a hold right now. The median price target is 833 rupees, which is about 6.86% higher than the current price. But the range is huge, with some analysts having a low target of 550 rupees and a high target of 1,200 rupees for the next year.
That's like a huge difference. It's almost like they're all looking at different things. How can they be so far apart?
I mean, it's because of different forecasting methods and perspectives, I guess. Some might be more optimistic about the company's potential, while others might be more conservative. It's like reading a book where each reader has a slightly different idea about what the story means, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's not just one clear picture. And what about the company's financials?
Okay, so IRCTC has delivered an EPS growth of 81.06% and a revenue growth of 76.50% in the last 3 years. In the trailing 12 months, they had a revenue of about 44,546.61 crore, which is 4.32% higher than their most recent fiscal year.
That actually sounds pretty solid. So why are the trends bearish if the company is doing so well? I mean, that doesn't seem to add up, right?
Well, that's the interesting part, right? It could be that the market is anticipating some future slowdown, even though the past performance looks great. It's like a ship sailing smoothly, but the captain is watching for any signs of a storm on the horizon.
Interesting. So it's not just about the numbers we see now, but also what people expect will happen in the future.
Exactly, and it shows up in the stock price. The ROE or return on equity is pretty good though. 38.93% in the most recent fiscal year, and a return on investment of 36.09%.
Okay, those are pretty good, but what about future growth? Are they predicting that these will decline as well?
Yeah, so the consensus estimates for the return on equity for the current and upcoming fiscal years are 37% and 34% respectively. It's actually projected to come down, which might also be influencing the bearish outlook.
So it's like they've had their good run, and now analysts are kind of thinking, okay, that might be slowing down.
That's what it looks like. The company has a predicted growth of negative 100% for revenue and profit for the quarter, which is alarming.
A predicted growth of negative 100%. That sounds like the company is going to be non-existent.
Well, I mean, it's a prediction for the quarter and could be a bit of an anomaly, but it is alarming, that's for sure.
So, with all these different factors at play, what should investors actually be doing?
Well, it really depends on their risk tolerance. They should monitor the stock closely, look at the support and resistance levels, and maybe consult with a financial advisor. It's like trying to navigate a maze. You really have to pay attention to all the signs.
Right. And speaking of competitors, how did IRCTC do compared to other similar travel companies?
Good question. While IRCTC went up by 2.1%, other companies like Thomas Cook India, Easy Trip Planners, and Kaya all experienced declines. So IRCTC actually did quite well compared to some of its peers.
So while their competitors are seeing declines, IRCTC managed to actually go up. It's a bit of a mixed bag across the sector there.
Exactly. It seems the market is showing mixed sentiments towards travel companies overall. It is not a uniform direction that the market is going for all the sector stocks.
Okay, so lots of things to consider. Thanks for breaking all of this down. It is a bit of a complicated picture right now.
Yeah, it's pretty nuanced, but hopefully this helps give a clearer understanding of everything that's going on with the IRCTC stock right now.
Definitely. It's like getting all the pieces of the puzzle to see what the final image might be, I guess. What should we be looking for next to understand what's going on better?
I'd say to keep an eye on those key support and resistance levels, any news about the company's upcoming quarterly results, and any changes to those analyst estimates. A lot of factors to monitor, like watching a complex machine that needs constant attention.
All right, I'm sure we'll be keeping a close eye on all of this. And thanks again for your insights. This was actually really helpful.
No problem. Glad I could help. And it'll be interesting to see what happens next with IRCTC, that's for sure.